Tammy Slaton, who had a role in the show 1,000-Pound Sisters, is one of the most well-known personalities on TLC. Since the beginning of the show, she has been letting her sister, Amy, accompany her on her mission to lose weight. They have discussed the highs and lows that they have experienced over the years. But Tammy never loses her upbeat attitude and even makes use of her prominence on television to convey words of encouragement. A few of her followers commented on her most recent post, asking whether or not she will ever produce a podcast. Continue reading to find out why. How are Tammy and Amy Slaton doing today? They weigh a combined 1,000 pounds. During the most recent season of 1,000-Pound Sisters, Tammy and Amy are currently discussing their lives with the audience. A recent revelation made by Tammy was that she had successfully shed less than 300 pounds. However, it appears like things are going more smoothly for them behind the camera. Tammy continues to talk about her effort to find a healthier weight. In order to accomplish her objectives, she had utilized a mixed approach consisting of weight loss surgery, nutrition, and exercise. Additionally, it seems that her decision to enter a rehabilitation center in Ohio in 2022 had a huge impact on her progress. During the course of the show, Amy Slaton disclosed that she had acquired a problem with hoarding. To her good fortune, she and Tammy mustered the bravery to clean up the mess that had been made in her house. In comparison to Tammy, she does not have as much activity on social media. On the other hand, she posted a quite adorable picture of her son, Gage, on Instagram a month ago. Why should Tammy start her own podcast? One of the most recent things that Tammy Slaton did was post a video of herself on Instagram, where she distributed inspirational remarks. As stated by the star of the show, 1,000-Pound Sisters, it is essential to pay attention to oneself on a daily basis. She also mentioned that every single step that a person takes is a significant advancement, and they ought to be proud of themselves for it. Many people's hearts were won over by the manner that Tammy would speak. Due to the fact that she is able to convey thoughts that are positive and uplifting, several people have suggested that she should launch a podcast. Obsessed with the manner in which Tammy became a source of motivation for everyone. Girl, you really ought to start a podcast because your voice is absolutely stunning. I am really smitten with this new you. Exceptionally upbeat and motivational. Keep up the good work. Extremely motivating. Oh my God. My heart was touched by your words today, Tammy. Thank you. What should you anticipate to see in the upcoming episode of 1,000-Pound Sisters? Turning a New Beef is the title of the 7th episode that will be aired in the 6th season of 1,000-Pound Sisters. Over the course of their big night out, Tammy and Amy will be seen arguing and squabbling with each other. It is also going to be shown in the most recent episode that Chris and Amy are going to visit a genealogist. The outcome will also cause the family to contemplate taking a trip to another country. As a result of the family's decision to participate in a 5K run, tempers immediately rose, and fans could anticipate more drama in the future. Tammy Slaton, one of the breakout stars of TLC's 1,000-Pound Sisters, has captivated audiences with her candid and often raw portrayal of life as an obese individual struggling to overcome not just physical but emotional and psychological barriers. After years of sharing her journey with viewers, it seems Tammy is on the brink of another major leap, potentially launching her very own podcast. With the rise of podcasting as a major media platform, the idea of Tammy stepping into this arena feels both natural and exciting. Let's dive into what such a transition could mean for her career and her fans, and explore how a podcast could serve as the perfect outlet for her voice. The rise of Tammy Slaton. From reality TV to cultural phenomenon, Tammy Slaton, along with her sister Amy Slaton, first appeared on 1,000-Pound Sisters in 2020. The show documented the sisters' intense weight loss journeys, which were riddled with challenges, family dynamics, and often tense moments. While Amy's progress has been more visibly positive on screen, Tammy's story has been a tumultuous one, marked by significant struggles with her health, self-doubt, and a battle against addiction to food. Despite the difficulties, Tammy's unfiltered, no-holds-barred persona earned her a significant fan base. People have connected with her not just because of her weight issues, but because of the vulnerability she's shown, her humor, and her ability to keep it real. Over the course of several seasons, viewers have seen her grapple with the emotions tied to food addiction, the complexities of family relationships, and her own evolving self-image. The power of Tammy's authenticity has made her a fan favorite, and in recent years, she has grown from a reality star into an internet celebrity. She's not just a part of the 1,000-pound sisters narrative anymore, she is a larger cultural figure who sparks conversation, garners support, and, inevitably, criticism. This type of visibility could make a podcast the perfect next step for her career. The growth of podcasting. Why Tammy Slaton could thrive in this space. Podcasting has exploded in popularity over the last decade. According to recent reports, there are over 2 million podcasts worldwide, covering a wide range of topics, from true crime to pop culture to self-help. The unique thing about podcasts is that they offer listeners an intimate, unfiltered look at their favorite personalities. And for someone like Tammy Slaton, this level of personal connection is exactly what she thrives on. The world of podcasts also provides an outlet for people who may not fit into traditional media molds. There's no network or showrunner controlling the narrative, and podcast hosts have the ability to take their audience on a journey of discovery, growth, and reflection. For Tammy, a platform like this would allow her to share more of her personal story, expand on her experiences, and discuss topics that are important to her and her fans. A podcast could also offer Tammy an opportunity to show her personality in a more controlled environment, as opposed to the heavily edited format of reality television. Reality TV is often scripted to a degree, with producers shaping certain storylines, but a podcast would allow Tammy to speak freely and directly to her audience, showcasing her unique voice and perspective. What could a Tammy Slaton podcast look like? While details of the podcast are purely speculative at this point, let's explore a few possibilities of what the show could look like. A deep dive into Tammy's journey. Given the personal nature of 1,000-pound sisters, a podcast focused on Tammy's health journey could provide listeners with more insight into her struggles and triumphs. Tammy has always been open about her weight struggles, but a podcast would give her the chance to dive deeper into topics that are often only touched upon in the show. This could include more personal reflections on her relationship with food, body image, and the psychological aspects of weight loss. This could also be a space for Tammy to reflect on her mental health and share her ups and downs in a way that feels genuine. She could talk about the barriers to success she's faced, not only in terms of her physical weight, but also emotionally. A podcast would give her a direct line to her listeners and help people feel like they're part of her journey, especially if she addresses questions and concerns that fans have brought up over the years. Guest appearances and conversations. A podcast wouldn't just have to be about Tammy, it could include interviews with friends, family, experts, and other reality TV stars. Tammy Slaton, for example, could join her for an episode or two to discuss their relationship, their shared history, and their experiences with the show. Tammy could also bring on nutritionists, therapists, fitness experts, and even fellow 1,000-pound sisters fans to discuss important topics such as food addiction, mental health, body positivity, and the realities of weight loss. Additionally, Tammy could incorporate conversations with other figures who have experienced similar struggles with body image, weight, and addiction. These guests could provide varying perspectives and create a more dynamic and informative podcast experience. Humor, honesty, and real talk. One of the things that fans love about Tammy is her sense of humor. Despite her often tragic circumstances, she manages to find humor in the darkest situations, and that wit has endeared her to her audience. A podcast could offer an opportunity for her to embrace this side of her personality in full. She could tell funny stories, offer candid opinions on pop culture, and even share her unique takes on current events. Tammy's authenticity is a big part of her appeal, so her podcast could also be a space where she gets brutally honest with her listeners about her own struggles, her journey to self-acceptance, and the realities of being a larger woman in a world that often stigmatizes people based on appearance. The potential impact of Tammy Slaton's podcast. If Tammy does decide to launch a podcast, there are several ways it could impact both her career and her fan base. Expanding her brand. A podcast could significantly broaden Tammy's reach. While 1,000-Pound Sisters is hugely popular, it's also confined to a specific audience on TLC and streaming platforms. A podcast, however, can be streamed on various platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more, allowing Tammy to reach a much larger and more diverse audience. Podcast listeners tend to be loyal and engaged, meaning that Tammy's fan base could grow exponentially. Additionally, launching a podcast could open doors for new opportunities outside of reality TV. Brands and sponsors often turn to podcast hosts for partnerships, and this could be an avenue for Tammy to further monetize her platform. She could endorse health-related products, promote body-positive initiatives, or even partner with other popular figures in the wellness and entertainment spaces. Building a community. Podcasts are a great way to create a sense of community. Fans of Tammy's show often express admiration and support for her in online forums and social media groups, where they bond over shared experiences or their love of the show. A podcast could be a place for Tammy to deepen that sense of community, creating a space where fans can interact with her more personally and even feel like they are a part of her journey. Tammy could also use the podcast to answer listener questions, take fan calls, and create a more interactive environment. This would likely appeal to her audience, many of whom see her as a friend or confidant, someone they can relate to. Through this podcast, she could continue to offer her wisdom, support, and humor in a more direct and unfiltered way. A platform for advocacy and education. Beyond entertainment, Tammy's podcast could become a platform for advocacy, especially in areas like body positivity, mental health awareness, and the realities of living with obesity. Given her journey, she is uniquely positioned to offer insights into topics that are often overlooked or misunderstood. Tammy could shed light on the emotional struggles of being an overweight woman in today's world, advocate for better mental health support, and bring awareness to the issues surrounding food addiction. She could also use her podcast to debunk harmful stereotypes about obese individuals, sharing her own experience with dieting, medical issues, and weight loss surgery. Her candid approach could help her audience better understand the complexities of her life and encourage empathy and awareness. Challenges to launching a podcast. Of course, no new venture is without its challenges. While podcasting is a relatively low-cost and accessible medium, it's also a lot of work. Tammy would need to be committed to creating regular content, promoting the podcast, and managing the logistics of recording and distribution. Additionally, while podcasting is often an unfiltered medium, Tammy could face backlash if any of her opinions or stories don't resonate well with her audience. She would need to carefully balance her personal honesty with an awareness of her listeners' sensitivities. Moreover, Tammy's ongoing struggles with her health and personal life could present difficulties in maintaining a consistent podcast schedule. The pressure of regularly producing new content might be overwhelming, especially considering the challenges she has faced in the past with her mental and physical health. Is Tammy Slaton ready to launch a podcast? At this point, there's no confirmation that Tammy Slaton will be launching her own podcast, but the idea,